Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for yet another quick FAQ, and this is to go into my playlist of frequently asked questions where I try to tackle specific questions, whether it be one or two questions, so I can have a place to refer people back to because they are the most commonly asked questions. And one that I've been getting quite a bit of lately is not so much a question, but people misunderstanding the difference between essential oils and infused oils, and they are very different. And this isn't going to be about which essential oils you should buy. I have my own opinions on that. One thing I will say is I personally stay away from anything that's multi-level marketing because they're always going to have jacked up prices because you're paying the middlemen in that. And just something you should know. And it just because they're higher priced does not mean that they're better than certain other brands. So anyway, let's answer this question real quick so you can understand the difference. And that is that your essential oils are the oils that are expressed directly from the plant. So that's going to be a pure, strong, very strong oil, and it takes a great amount of plant material in order to get that essential oil. And that is why they're mostly bought in smaller bottles, because it takes so much plant material just to make an ounce or two or four, or even a half ounce. And it's also good to try to look for something that is 100%, but certain ones, as long as they're pure, it is very, very expensive to get certain oils like rose essential oil. To get that in a pure form that's not been diluted with any other oil is highly expensive, and it can be more difficult to find. Just, something that you can understand there. But as long as it works the way you want it to, and the ingredients are good, that's fine. I do have a couple of oils I buy like that, and rose is one of the very few. The rest I get are pure, whatever that oil is, pure peppermint, pure orange, and so on and so forth. Now, when it comes to infused oil, this is something I do quite often. I always have oils infusing, and I have oils specifically infusing for my skin cream. I have oils that I specifically infuse for my hair treatment. I put on my scalp in particular to help with hair growth. And I have recipes on these talking about the various herbs that I use. I'll link to both of those down below. I've also infused just like a pepper oil using red pepper flakes. I also have another oil infusion recipe that's specifically to be used in a muscle rub. It can be used alone, or you can add essential oils to it to make it stronger. And I'll link to that recipe down below as well. So that's the main differences. And a lot of people ask, well, can you make your own essential oils? You can, but it does require special equipment to do that, and it's going to depend on the type of essential oil you're making, because some are better to be used with a cold press setup. Some are better when you use the steam distilled method, and so it's going to depend on that particular material. Now, steam distilled might be the easiest one to make, and it is the most common, and that if you have a still of any kind, you can use that still to make those essential oils. Whereas the cold press is a little different and still does require some special equipment, and it can be kind of spendy. Now, I haven't looked into it, but I would assume there's probably a way you can make your own setup, just like you can make your own still, and you can research that for yourself. Or if you're one that knows how to do that or has an idea, share with us down below. Now, when it comes to infused oils, even though they're not going to be near as strong as your essential oils, because an oil infusion is where you're actually putting herbs of some kind into an oil of choice. I typically use avocado oil. Some people use olive oil. Some people will use a fractionated coconut oil, something where it's going to stay in its more liquid form, not solidify. Or even olive oil, which I tend to avoid, because if you're trying to keep it in a warmer area, olive oil can go rancid quickly. And when I infuse oils, I prefer just keeping in a warm area, but not too hot, because not only can, especially if you're using olive oil, not only can the olive oil go rancid, I do think if you're using a method that can get too hot, especially with your more delicate herbs, it can damage the properties in those herbs that the whole reason why you're extracting it in the first place. So an oil infusion is similar to other types of extractions where you're using a solvent to make a tincture such as vodka, wine, honey, and so on. The difference is you're using oil instead, and usually that's because you're going to be using it on your skin in some form rather than drinking it, where a tincture is something you take internally typically. I mean, you can go either way with either one of them. And yes, you can cook with infused oils. Now, if it really came down to it for me and I didn't have access to essential oils or a way to make them, I would be happy to just stick with my infused oils. Essential oils are nice because they're so powerful. You just need a little bit. You can add a little bit to your different even infused oil blends to add more scent and more potency to them. But if I had to do without them, I would just stick with the oil infusions because it's simple. All you need is a jar with a lid, some herbs, and some oil. That's all you need, your herb of choice. But if you're wanting to make it stronger, I haven't done this, but it is something you can do if you're really wanting to make a more powerful oil infusion. You can do double and triple infusions. And so what you would do at that point is after you let your herb infusion sit for 6 to 8 weeks, I usually leave mine for at least 2 months, then you're going to strain out all that plant material, take that oil, add fresh plant material back in. And when I say fresh, I mean new. Whenever you're doing oil infusions, don't use fresh herbs. Anything that's wet, they should be dried. That's better. That's actually best when you're talking about oil infusions. When you're talking about tinctures, you can go either way. But oil infusions, the herbs need to be dried, whatever kind they are. And then anyway, add a fresh batch of herbs in there, infuse it for another couple months, and then if you want to do it again, strain it out and then start again. And that's going to give you a more powerful oil infusion if you do that. And as far as what to do with those expended herbs, I have a video just on that I'll also link to down below. And one more thing I want to add about the differences between the two is they're typically used a little bit differently. Essential oils are used more for aromatherapy, where your infused oils aren't going to have so much of that strong smell, but they can be used directly on your skin, whereas a lot of your essential oils need to be diluted first. Otherwise, they can be too strong. Okay, well, share with us down below do you use essential oils or infused oils, or are you like me and you use both and you have different uses for both, or you combine them even like I do for my skin creams and certain other things? And what are some of your favorite types to make or use? All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped clarify some confusion there on the difference between infused oil and essential oil. And don't forget to check out my other videos I'll be linking to down below. Thanks for watching, take care, and God bless.